All right, everyone. Well, I apologize for our rocky start. Lots of technical difficulties. Technology is a gift and a curse. I am going to go ahead and share my screen here in just a moment so we can get started. Okay, can everyone see the slide?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great, thanks. So, Jody, you want to kick things off, or I can go, or what would you?
Sure. So welcome everyone. I'm so happy you found us in cyberspace, and we want to just say welcome to Jill Sweet, who is the Director of Advising and Registrar at West Shore Community College. Hopefully you've met Jill already. She's going to be here today sharing about registration for spring semester, some tips.
Uh-oh. Jody, I think your sound cut out, or is it just me?
I can't hear her.
No, I can't hear her. And I can't lip read that fast.
Oh no. Okay, I'll keep. Are you back, Jody?
Was I muted?
No, you weren't muted, but your sound just stopped momentarily. So,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. We'll keep rolling. So yes, Jill, thank you for being here and welcome. I think you all know that registration is coming up soon for second semester, so we are happy to have Jill here and talk about advising as well as registration. And so we are excited for that piece. We're also going to be talking about some goal setting and growth mindset, which both Jody and I are really excited about. We think it's great information, and it's something that we both enjoy and are happy to share that with you. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Jill to share with us a little bit more about advising and registration appointments.
Great. Thank you, Jody and Hannah, for inviting me here today. As Hannah said, my name is Jill Sweet. I am the Director of Advising and the Registrar here, and I am one of 7 academic advisors that we have in Student Services. And you are able to meet with any one of us, and you probably have already met with one or more of us. So currently we are doing all of our advising appointments via either Zoom or by phone. That may change, that may not, but for right now, that's how we're doing that. And you can sign up for an appointment by going to the my.westshore site, and there is a link right at the top of that site that you can click on to sign up for appointments. So we do feel here at West Shore that it is very important to meet with an advisor, and so there are many reasons why you would want to do that, and hopefully if you have already met with someone, you have recognized the benefits to meeting with one of us. So as advisors, it's our goal to help you meet your goals, whatever they may be. So some of you may know exactly what you want to do for a career, and that is awesome. But others of you may not have any idea, and that's okay too. If you were to ask any one of our advisors, and maybe even Hannah or Jody, to look back like 5, 10, 15, or even 20 years and say, ask if we would picture ourselves in the role that we're in now, I can probably guarantee you every single one of us would be like, no. Like, no, I never would have imagined. I think back when I was in your shoes just starting in college, I don't even think I knew what a registrar was. So, but that is okay. We get it. That's kind of, you know, so we understand where you're at if you do not know. But it's our job to kind of help guide you and kind of ask the right questions to help you find what an area of interest might be. So like I said, we'll ask you some specific questions about your hobbies or about areas of interest, things you like, things you didn't like, and maybe even courses that you've enjoyed while in high school or courses that you are currently taking at West Shore that you really enjoy. Sometimes you take a class and find that the professor's enthusiasm and passion is really contagious. We do have some rather dynamic professors here on campus. And sometimes that causes you to change your career path, or at least investigate that a little bit. Sometimes the opposite happens, right? Sometimes you take a class and you are like, this is not it. It just doesn't click. I will say for me, I was kind of on a STEM path until I took Calculus 2 in college. That was my class. That was my this is not it class. And I just realized this is not clicking with me and I need to go a different direction. And so sometimes that happens. And I have a story about a student. Some of you may have taken or are taking Anatomy and Physiology 1. That can be a challenging class. I had a student who was going into the nursing program. So she was in this class. As you may be aware, part of A&P requires you to work with cadavers in the lab. Well, this student knew this going in, but when she got into that lab, she just couldn't do it. Okay, well, this is huge, right? This is huge. Like, you have to be able to work on people in the healthcare field. And so she came into my office panicking and just didn't know what to do. So fortunately, we were able to kind of work through maybe exploring some other path in healthcare and just kind of talking through maybe some different options for her. And that might happen to you, and that's perfectly fine. And that's what we're here for as advisors, is to kind of help you in those types of situations that you might find yourself in. We also do encourage you to talk to faculty mentors. That is what we will be calling them moving forward. And these are our faculty members in the particular areas. They are the experts in their field, and they can really help you to talk about the different job opportunities and careers that are out there within their field. Because, you know, as advisors, we are generalists and we know, well, we know a lot, but we are not experts. And so we really do encourage you to meet with them. And like I said earlier, they're the ones that are passionate about their field. We do help you with choosing courses to take. So whether that are courses to help you explore areas that you are interested in, if you are unsure, choosing some great general courses that regardless of your program will transfer or may apply to your program, or whether that is picking particular courses that do apply to your degree, we can help you with that. We also help you navigate our registration system. So we like to say, we like to guide you in registering for your classes, but we don't like to just do it for you. Again, we're here to guide you and to teach you, but not to just do everything for you. But we will help you with any questions you might have about, you know, the My.West Shore site, about how to find the right classes, and even about what some of the information out there might mean. I know that was a pretty common question especially for fall, what is this synchronous thing? Like, that was a new term for this semester. And so we had a lot of questions from students about what that meant. So yeah, that's what advisors are here for, asking all of those kind of questions. We can help with creating a plan. So sometimes, especially if you are looking to go part-time, meaning less than 12 credits, sometimes it's good to kind of sit down and kind of plan out a couple semesters worth of courses, just to make sure that you are staying on a path and you don't all of a sudden find yourself with a semester where there aren't any courses maybe available for your particular program. And so as advisors, we can help you out with that. We can answer any specific questions you might have about specific courses. So if you're looking at 2 different courses and maybe you read the course description, but it doesn't really either make sense to you, or you just have additional questions, we can kind of follow up and help you out with that, maybe talking about some different things that you might study or discuss within that class to help you make a decision about the class to take. We can ensure that the courses you are choosing are going to be towards your degree. So one of the things that you may have discovered is that if you are using any type of financial aid along with your Promise Scholarship or with your Manistee Commitment Scholarship, you do need to be taking courses within your program, or financial aid will not cover them. And so as advisors, we make sure that, because sometimes that can be a little tricky, so we are making sure that you are choosing the correct courses, okay? And then we can also answer transfer questions. So we fully recognize that, West Shore, we offer up to an associate's degree here, and that many of you are going to want to go beyond that and go for a bachelor's degree, which will require transferring to a four-year university. There are many agreements that we do have with some four-year institutions. Ferris State is one of our primary ones. And so we can kind of help navigate some of the best courses to take for those particular schools. For Ferris State, for example, if you know that you want to go to Ferris, and maybe even if you don't know exactly what program you might want to do, we know that, for example, the world literature class that's offered in the winter, we call it winter, by the way, Jody, not spring, sorry. The winter term, it is kind of this like magic course for Ferris, right? Because it is a cultural enrichment course. It actually transfers in as a 300 level, so they consider it upper level, and it is a global consciousness. So it actually meets 3 of their general education areas. And so if you need, you can take that course towards your West Shore degree, and it will also transfer very nicely to Ferris. And so those are the kinds of things that advisors can help you out with, okay? And so what can you as a student do? First, you can explore on your own. Find someone whose job interests you or that works in the field that may be of interest to you and talk to them about it. Maybe even set up some job shadowing. If you don't know anybody, that is okay. But you can also talk to the faculty, like I mentioned earlier, in that particular area, and they may even know somebody that you can talk to or job shadow. Don't wait until the last minute to set up an advising appointment or to register, okay? Our winter registration begins in just under 2 weeks on October 26th, and it will continue up until the first day of the winter semester. And so don't wait until January to start this process, right? And for this semester, for winter, you should be all set as far as your funding is concerned, but starting with like next summer, you're gonna start a new financial aid year, and so you wanna make sure that you start those processes nice and early, okay? There are some high demand courses that do fill up within the first couple weeks of registration, and so especially if you are in a field, a healthcare field, anatomy and physiology fills up pretty quickly. Or if you're taking a lot of general classes, I know some of the more popular classes such as interpersonal communications or government or history will sometimes fill up quickly, and you'll be left with limited choices. Make the most out of your advising appointment and come prepared. I'm not gonna lie, as advisors, we do love it when students come prepared for their appointments. You know, we've seen it on both ends. We've seen students come really, really well prepared and know almost exactly what they want to take, but they just wanted some validation, just wanted to talk to somebody about it. And we've seen students come into our appointments who are just like, do everything for me. Okay, well, we really do encourage you to come prepared. That doesn't mean you have to have everything all figured out, but we do love it if you at least try ahead of time to look at things over and to have a general idea of maybe which direction you're going. Even if you register for a couple classes on your own and you just want us to kind of say, hey, does this look okay? You know, we love it. And so we can help you out with that. Ask questions if you don't understand. As advisors, we work with programs and courses and procedures every day. And so they kind of become like second nature to us. And we don't always know what is confusing for students, okay? And so we may, especially me, I tend to talk kind of fast. So we may just be going on and on and on and on. And feel free, please just jump in and stop and ask questions if you have them. We want you guys to be successful. That's why we're here. That's why we work in this field. And so we want to make sure that you're on the right path and that you're understanding what's going on. I already mentioned kind of applying early for financial aid, and that will come into play next spring, as in season. You'll want to make sure that the general rule is once you do your taxes, do your FAFSA, right? And I know for Mason County Promise, at least, and forgive me, Hannah, I'm not as well versed with Manistee Commitment, but you do have to do your FAFSA and have that entire financial aid process in place, even if you don't receive any funding through FAFSA, before you can be eligible for the Promise funding. Okay, so it is important to start that. Yes, FAFSA. It is important to start that process early, because sometimes there are additional documents that you need to submit to financial aid, and it can be time consuming to get those in. So if you're coming in right at the last minute, you know, we would hate for you guys to have to actually pay some money out of pocket, or worse yet, not be able to register because you don't have funding and can't afford to pay for something. So start that process early. And I know for Mason County Promise, you guys need to reapply and fill out that reapplication every year. And so if we know that you were Mason County, we try to remember if you were Mason County Promise last year, did you fill out your reapplication? Okay, so make sure that you are doing that. I mentioned goals earlier. The biggest thing is to never lose sight of your goals, right? If you know that you want to graduate with an associate's degree from West Shore, just picture yourself with that little cap and gown on, right? Because research has shown that students who earn an associate's degree are more likely to complete a bachelor's degree, and can earn up to 33% more over the course of their lifetime. And so we do encourage you to keep, you know, pursuing that, and to keep meeting with an advisor regularly so that you kind of stay on that path towards reaching that degree. Feel free to reach out for a degree audit. You know, where am I at? How much do I have left to earn my degree? So that you can kind of keep that in your mind. If you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, it's a lot easier to get to the end, right? And then finally, apply for graduation when you get close to there. If you're meeting with an advisor regularly, they're going to tell you you are ready, you are in your last classes, and you need to apply for graduation, okay? So they will tell you how to do that. There's just an online form. And then again, that is something that you do want to do as soon as you are registered for those last classes, so that if by chance there is a course that you're missing, when I do the audit, I'm the one that does those, then I can send you an email and be like, hey, you're missing a social science elective, and here are your options for the semester. And that way you can quick adjust your schedule if, you know, if all possible, and then be pre-approved to complete your coursework. So thanks again for inviting me to talk to you guys. I hope to see many of you in advising appointments, whether that's via Zoom or talking on the phone. And best wishes and best luck as you continue in your academic career. Are there any questions? I know we only have a couple students here, but are there any questions, even Hannah or Jody, that you guys thought of as I was talking?
So I don't have any questions, Jill, and please, if students, you do have questions, please feel free to enter them into the chat or unmute yourself. I did want to make a couple of clarifying points about commitment. We also require the FAFSA. So yes, as a commitment
I figured, but I didn't clarify that ahead of time, and I was like, oh, shoot.
No, thank you for bringing that up. And one distinction that I will also make is, while we, of course, want you to be taking classes that are geared toward your program of study and, you know, the ultimate completion of a degree program, we are happy to pay for classes that may not necessarily fall into that window. So while some financial aid requires that it fit perfectly into that program of study, your Manistee Commitment Scholarship is able to be used for other electives and things. But of course, we really want you to stay focused on what's important for your program of study. So Jody, I'm not sure if there's anything in the chat. I have my full screen entered. So if there's anything there.
I have a question.
And Zoe has a question. Okay.
I mean, I don't know if this really has to do with anything you said, but I was just kind of wondering it. So when I first started taking my classes, I was like undecided, but I think now that I like want to go into criminal justice, and I know they have a program for that, but since I already am taking just like regular like general classes, does that mean I like won't be able to get my degree in that?
No.
That's a great question, Zoe.
That is a great question. Students change their minds all the time, and some students will completely flip and you go, wow, that was a really big change. Most students generally stay within a particular area, like criminal justice, for example, is kind of in that human services, social science field. Most students will stay within that, but some do a complete flip. So no, absolutely, we have a law enforcement degree, which would allow you to be eligible for police licensure if that's the route you want to go. But we also do have an Associate of Arts in Criminal Justice, which is more geared for transfer. So if you're going on for a bachelor's in criminal justice and maybe you're going into a different field, but not necessarily law enforcement, then that's probably the way to go.
Yeah, okay, that's probably what I'm going to do then, because I don't want to be a cop. But.
Okay.
And I think too, Zoe, those are good questions to ask when you make an advising appointment, is to say, you know, I'm interested in this. How can I make sure my classes this semester and moving forward are geared toward that?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
That's the nice part of taking general education courses, is usually your classes fit pretty well into other majors. So you were smart in doing that, Zoe.
Yep.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Well, thank you again, Jill. And I know you might have to scoot, so no problem. And we can just keep rolling unless there's any other questions in the chat that I didn't see.
I'm just going to put the link for advising and registration at West Shore, so it brings students to that page. I'll put that in the chat just in case that's helpful for anybody. And it looks like, I wanted to just be sure in case I missed it. For this semester, is all advising virtual, or are you doing face-to-face as well?
For right now, it is primarily either Zoom or by phone. I mean, if there's a student that absolutely wants to or has to meet with somebody face-to-face for some reason, we do have advisors that are on campus now at least a few days a week. Actually, we might have one on campus every day of the week for the most part. And so we might be able to squeeze somebody in if they just really want to talk to somebody face-to-face.
And along those same lines, Jill, if somebody doesn't know if their question is an advisor question or not an advisor, are you still a good place to go?
I am, or they can even email. There's a general student services at westshore.edu. That's a great place because it actually comes to all of the advisors as well as all of the rest of our staff. So somebody will respond to you fairly quickly with that one.
I'll put that in the chat in a minute then. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Thanks again, Jill. We appreciate your time and
Yes.
talking to us. So we are going to shift gears now and start talking about goals and growth mindset. And I am going